I never thought I would face a life-threatening situation. I thought it only happens in TV dramas or comic book stories. The experience left me with a deep scar in my heart. I'm still so scared and terrified these days. What happened that day was the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. What my mother-in-law did to me was just unforgivable. Here's my story. My name is Lisa, a 30-year-old housewife. John is my husband, who works at the trading company, and Jake is my 10-year-old stepson. 3 years ago, I was single and working at an office. I met John through the supervisor I used to work with.
His first marriage didn't work out, but he's a really good guy. Do you want to meet him?
My supervisor asked me one day. At first, I was not sure if I wanted to meet him since he was a divorcee. I had never married before, so I didn't want to meet a guy who was once married. I had my own hopes and dreams for my future in marriage. But when I finally met John, I changed my mind fairly quickly. He seemed so sweet and sincere, and his son Jake was also adorable. John and I got along really well since the day we met. We got married 6 months later. Jake accepted me as if I were his real mother, and that made me very happy. We enjoyed spending time together as a happy family. We went on long road trips on weekends, and the family campouts were always so fun. My first 3 years of marriage were nothing but good memories and laughter. Then we welcomed the big news we were waiting for.
John, Jake, I have big news, I announced happily. I'm pregnant.
Oh my goodness, Lisa, thank you.
Said John, beaming.
Is it a boy or a girl?
Jake asked. I was pregnant with a baby girl. I couldn't wait to hold my own baby in my arms.
I can't wait to see you. I love you.
I talked to my unborn child every day. Everything was perfect, or so it seemed, until my father-in-law, who was suffering from a long-time illness, passed away. After losing her husband, my mother-in-law Yoko became unhinged. I think it was sometime after the memorial service on the 49th day of her husband's death. Yoko started asking me to come over to her house almost every day. Our house was only a 15-minute drive away from her house, so at first I didn't mind at all. But after visiting her for a while every day, it became a burden.
It's nice of you to come over every day. Once my foot is better, I can do my things.
Yoko said.
Don't worry, Yoko. I'm glad I can help.
At the time, Yoko was using a cane even in the house after she had a bad fall. That was why I was asked to help around the house and do some shopping for her. It was not a big deal since I was her daughter-in-law. Being useful was actually quite nice. I didn't mind the housework. What made it difficult was that I had to listen to Yoko all day talking bad about John's ex.
You won't believe how useless she was.
Yoko said.
She was always very nervous and timid. She was also very clumsy.
Yoko kept on saying what a bad cook she was. Whenever she grilled meat, it was as tough as leather.
Her miso soup was so incredibly salty, it was like drinking seawater.
Then, Yoko went on to talk about her poor cleaning skills. Yoko described her ex-daughter-in-law's lack of skill in sweeping and not being able to wring out cleaning cloths because she was too dainty. Yoko didn't like the way she did laundry either.
She never hand-washed anything. Even they were supposed to be hand-washed. She threw everything in the washing machine.
Yoko said.
She was a disaster, as a wife and as a daughter-in-law.
That was her overall opinion of her ex-daughter-in-law. I was forced to listen to Yoko's grumbling day in and day out. I didn't ask, and John never told me why they got divorced. However, after listening to Yoko's complaints daily, I wouldn't be surprised if this mother-in-law had something to do with it. Unfortunately, my bad premonition became a reality later on. It happened when I was 9 months pregnant. My belly was like a balloon. I was so ready for my baby to be born. My mother-in-law called me one day saying, "Could I come over? Let's have dinner together. Can you have enough food for me?" Since after my father-in-law's passing, we often had her over to have dinner together. But on that particular day, John called from his office. I might be late tonight. Got more work to do. Go ahead and have dinner without me. My in-law was already over at her house waiting for her son to come home to have dinner together. She turned visibly upset upon hearing the news.
Do you use cheap meat in this dish? It's too tough to eat.
She said sullenly as soon as we sat down for dinner.
Yeah, sorry. We're on a budget, I said.
And the soup no taste. So bland. Hospitals serve better soups than this.
She kept on.
My salt intake is restricted by my doctor.
I answered. Every bite she took, she found something to complain about. Our dinner table turned very quiet. Even Jake was quieter than usual. He was just trying to finish his dinner and leave the table. We finished our unpleasant dinner, and I was washing dishes in the kitchen when I heard mumbling behind me. I turned around.
It was my mother-in-law. John and Jake are pulled away from me as your belly gets bigger and bigger.
Yoko, what's the matter?
I asked.
She kept on mumbling. After his divorce, John was asking for my help all the time. He needed me. Since he showed up, he doesn't need me anymore.
Excuse me, Yoko. I was doing dishes, so I couldn't hear you well.
I said politely.
Nobody appreciates me anymore.
Well, Yoko, I did not realize what was happening.
I want you to be gone. You're not needed here.
She started yelling. When I turned around, all I saw was my mother-in-law holding up a big frying pan over her hand.
I wish you would just disappear.
She screamed as she swung the big pan down, aiming at my hand.
Stop!
Someone yelled at her.
What are you doing, Mom? Were you gonna hit Lisa with that?
It was John. He came home just in time. I was in shock. Scared, I fell to the floor. While I was on the floor, some memories came back like flashbacks. It was when I was about 6 months pregnant. My mother-in-law was coming over to our house quite frequently. I was always a little nervous about her unannounced visits.
Yoko would just come over whenever she wanted.
I wanted her to think that I was a good wife and a mother. I always tried to keep my house very tidy. I also tried to dress like a good daughter-in-law for her. I was always trying to please Yoko in any way I could. Most of the time it went just fine. Yoko and I talked about my soon-to-be-born baby.
How are you feeling? I'm so glad it's a girl.
Yoko said,
Is everything going well?
Yes, thank you. Everything's going well so far. I check my weight often, so I don't gain too much.
At first I thought she was asking these questions because I was carrying her granddaughter. I was happy she cared about us. However, things were starting to turn in a strange way. I was often confused by her actions. Recently, my obstetrician advised me to restrict my sugar or carb intake to prevent gestational diabetes, which can be harmful to a fetus. To prevent gestational diabetes, which can be harmful to a fetus. My blood glucose level was a little high, so I was watching my diet. Even though I told Yoko about my dietary restrictions many times, she always brought a ton of sweets and snacks.
I have a present for you. Delicious sweets. Fruits were on sale, so I bought them for you. Let's eat.
She chirped. Each time, I had to explain to Yoko that I was not allowed to eat them. She looked disappointed each time. So I felt bad. When I didn't eat the food she brought, Yoko did not hide her irritation toward me. I didn't want Yoko to meddle in my business, but her meddling just got worse as my pregnancy progressed. One day, Yoko told me, I will clean your house for you. Go relax, let me help you. I was grateful and thankful for her help. But after she left, I noticed that something was missing.
Where did our family picture go? The trick from last year?
It was gone, the photo frame and all. It happened repeatedly. After her visit, our precious items were often missing. She also broke things quite regularly.
Oh no, sorry Lisa. I broke your dishes again.
It's okay, Yoko. You didn't cut yourself. I can help to clean up.
I said patiently. She broke so many cups and dishes, I started to suspect that something was up. Of course, I told John that his mother was acting strange.
Do you think she doesn't like me? I don't know why, but I feel she has something against me.
I told John.
I will keep my eyes open, Lisa. I'm sorry. You must have felt very uncomfortable.
He was very supportive and completely on my side. That was my saving grace. By the time I was 7 months pregnant, my belly was sticking out and my back was killing me all day and night. But that did not stop my mother-in-law from calling and making me come over to help around her house. She always had reasons to summon me.
My back hurts. Oh, my knees. Oh, my tummy hurts.
Once I arrived, she ordered me to do all her chores. She even told me once that she was going out with her friend because she wanted me to do all her housework for the day. I was so pregnant. It was not easy to do chores for 2 houses. If I used my pregnancy as an excuse for not being able to help her, she got really mad.
Pregnancy is not an illness. I can't believe how cold-hearted you are.
Most of the time I did not want to deal with her hysteria, so I did what she told me to. I thought I was being patient, but she looked at me and said,
It's showing on your face how much you hate to help me. You're so ungrateful. This is all for you. Think of this as exercise.
she thought I was lazing around all day.
Sedentary lifestyle is bad for a mother and her baby.
She explained her reasoning, but I was not lazy. I just wanted to do my things, not her things, in my own way at my own pace. I was not allowed to talk back or show any discontentment to her. Those were the hard days, when the chores at her house took longer than expected. She often served me lunch.
Please go ahead and eat. I bought them at the department store. It's pretty good.
But they were often spoiled. When I would not eat these rotten foods, or when I told her that they had gone bad, she would make a face and say,
Then don't eat. What a thankless daughter-in-law you are. I bought them just for you.
She blamed me for not eating. No matter how many times I apologized, she never forgave me. My stepson Jake was such an angel in those dark times. He was so helpful and supportive.
I can finish cleaning the floor for you. I know it's hard for you to clean the floor on your knees.
Thank you, Jake. You're such a great help.
He was a very considerate and kind boy. I was so thankful for his willingness to help. My mother-in-law didn't like the fact that Jake liked me and helped me. She tried various ways to lure Jake to her side.
Leave your mother. She's fine. Come over to your grandmother and have a snack with me. I have a glass of delicious juice for you. The TV is playing your favorite show, Jake.
She tried hard to win Jake's favor. Jake, on the other hand, stayed cool.
No thank you, I'm fine.
The more harshly she treated me, the more Jake avoided his grandmother. John was, of course, always on my side. On weekends, John would visit his mother's house, trying to talk some sense into her.
Lisa is pregnant. Don't make her do your chores. And don't serve her spoiled food, he told her.
She's lying to you. I would never do such a thing.
You're being manipulated by her.
Yoko said to her son.
Why would Lisa lie to me? Are you losing your mind?
John said.
What did you just say? Are you saying I'm getting senile?
Their talk didn't go anywhere. Our relationship with Yoko deteriorated. By the time I was 8 months pregnant, I was just so exhausted physically and emotionally. One day when I was out shopping, a woman stopped me and talked to me.
Excuse me, are you John's wife by any chance? My name is Anne. I'm his ex.
Surprised, I agreed to have tea with Anne. She said she had something she wanted to tell me. Just as I heard about her from Yoko, Anne seemed quiet and reserved. Yet the story she told me blew my mind away.
I was almost killed by her.
What? Almost killed by whom?
Needless to say, her meant my mother-in-law, Yoko.
And John's ex was harassed by Yoko on various occasions while she was pregnant with Jake.
Just like me, she was served rotten food and forced to do many laborious house chores. Yoko yelled and screamed at her if she didn't obey her orders. The situation was so horrible. She thought it was a miracle that she had a healthy baby after going through all this.
Even after I had Jake, Yoko harassed me daily. I was simply not needed anymore after giving her a grandson.
Yoko took over the care of the newborn baby. Instead of caring for her own child, Anne was ordered to do other house chores as if she were a maid. Then one day, I was hit by something heavy. I collapsed.
According to Yoko, it was just a big pot. I put it away on a high shelf. Yoko told ambulance personnel when she reported the incident. I didn't believe her. I just couldn't.
Anne felt her life was in immediate danger after the incident. She suspected that what happened was intentional. Anne told John, yet the situation never improved. So Anne decided to divorce John to protect herself from her in-law. She desperately wanted to keep Jake with her, but she had no job and no money. Anne decided to leave Jake with John in order to give her son a financially stable life. Anne repeatedly told me to watch out for Yoko. Please be careful. I'm serious. Do everything you can to protect yourself from your mother-in-law.
Thank you for telling me all this. I'm sure it was hard for you to talk about what you went through. I will think about it and do what I can do, I told Anne.
Before leaving, I told her how her son Jake is doing. She was so happy to hear what a great boy he was growing up to be. She wept with joy. On the way home, I promised myself to protect my family from my mother-in-law. Not just for me and my baby, but for Anne and Jake. I started to make a plan. I implemented everything I could think of to protect us from Yoko. About a month after I talked to Anne, the frying pan incident happened. My mother-in-law denied any wrongdoing when John took the frying pan from her hands. She insisted it was not what it looked like.
I was just putting away the frying pan on the shelf.
She said.
You're taking it wrong.
Jake was peeking at his grandmother behind John's back. He stared straight at Yoko and said,
That's not true. I saw it. Grandma's lying.
I agree, Jake.
John said.
The pan was aimed at Lisa. There was no other way to look at it.
That's a horrible misunderstanding and accusation. You're looking at it all wrong.
Mother-in-law protested.
Well, shall we check then?
I said calmly.
What do you mean by that?
She said surprised. I took out my cell phone and started an app.
I see this kitchen on the screen.
My mother-in-law gasped, staring at my phone.
Just in case, I have set some cameras throughout this house.
I said, that was the idea I came up with to protect my family from Yoko. After hearing horrible stories from Anne, we watched the video in silence. It showed clearly that Yoko was about to hit me with a big frying pan.
Mom, explain this to me.
John yelled. My mother-in-law had no excuse. She was about to cry.
Lisa took you and Jake from me. I just wanted my boys back.
Yoko said. What a selfish remark, I thought. After John's divorce, Yoko assumed that her son and grandson would live with her for the rest of her life. But things didn't go the way she wanted. John remarried fairly quickly to me, so her wish to live with her son and grandson did not come true. Everything should have gone according to her plan if I weren't there. She kept repeating her selfish logic like a broken record.
You're not my family, you dirty thief. You're the one who stole my son and my grandson from me.
She screamed. Jake and I were speechless.
Don't you talk to my wife like that. Apologize. Apologize to my wife.
The fierce yelling match lasted for a while between John and his mother, yet it was not going anywhere. John realized that their argument was fruitless, so he simply kicked her out of her house. A few days later, John told his mother that he would cut ties with her.
I won't ever want to see you again, Mom. Ever. I will not help you financially anymore either.
He told her.
Wait, what? That's not fair. Please, I'll say sorry to your wife if that's what you want. I didn't mean to do it. I regret what I did, so please.
John was so furious he had no mercy on his mother.
Part of the reason was he had no idea what was happening between his ex-wife and his mother until I told him what I heard from Anne. He had never thought his own mother would do such a thing to Anne. He realized his mistake and blindness toward his mother. He couldn't help but be frustrated and annoyed with Yoko.
Don't show up anywhere near us, Mom. Understand?
Yoko realized how serious her son was, so she agreed and left us alone after that. A few weeks later, feeling relieved and relaxed, I gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Our life is now filled with happiness. Now, as a family of 4 happy people, we're enjoying every moment of her life. My mother-in-law, you ask? I heard that she's in money trouble after she lost financial support from her son. She got a job as a part-timer, but her much younger boss doesn't like her. That's what I heard from my mother-in-law herself. She called me the other day asking for money.
Could you give me some money? I can't make ends meet.
She said over the phone.
I see. But we have 2 kids with 1 income. We don't have extra money to give.
I told her coolly.
Please, any amount is fine. $300, $200 a month is fine if that's all you can give.
I'm hanging up now, Yoko. Please don't call us again.
I hung up the phone while she was screaming on the other end of the line. I immediately set my cell phone to block her call. Later, I heard that she had to go to a second job to pay her bills. She is now working at the takeout lunchbox shop in the morning and at the supermarket in the afternoon. The other day, I ran into Anne and she told me about Yoko.
I happened to see Yoko at the supermarket. She was so scrawny. She looked like a zombie.
My mother-in-law didn't even notice Anne was standing right in front of her. If she were nicer, kinder, mother-in-law, all of this would have never happened to her. I felt pity for her, but she brought all this upon herself. I hope she regrets what she did to Anne and me. Now she's on her own, all I can say is, good luck, with a smile.